Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Tuesday, August the 27th. We're going to look at Tuesday's 15-game slate. We'll start off with pitching, like always. We'll work our way through the pitcher-player pool. This pitching slate is really deep. As you can see on DraftKings, there's 7 guys over 10K, so there's a lot of spend-up options. There's even some mid-tier and value pitchers that I think are playable. For offense, there's going to be a lot of ways to go since it's a 15-game slate. There's a Coors game on this slate. I'm pretty sure both teams have like nearly a 7 implied run total, Rockies and Red Sox. So there's going to be a lot of ways to go with the bats as well. I'll be sure to do my best to break down the slate, talk about who I like the most at pitcher for hitters, and then stacks I like. And then we will look at some BVP plays towards the end of the video. Before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. And if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below so that way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. But at the top of the pitcher-player pool, Justin Verlander, our most expensive option today. He is $12K on DraftKings, and over on Yahoo, Verlander is also the most expensive pitcher at $62. So I feel like this is a slate where Verlander's probably not going to be someone that I try and force in. He's obviously going to be the top projected pitcher. In a matchup with the Rays, I would say this is a somewhat favorable matchup. It is a pretty good ballpark. Houston's ballpark is just kind of neutral, doesn't really favor pitchers or hitters, but a really low total for the Rays right now. This is a lineup that does have some strikeouts in it, especially when you get to the bottom. You don't get a ton of Ks from like Sogard, Pham, Meadows, Choi. They don't really strike out much, but Garcia will strike out. You can get some Ks from d'Arnaud. Adames will strike out. So it's a decent spot for Verlander, but we just have a lot of other options on this slate, and I would say we have guys in better matchups. Like you have Corbin facing the Orioles, you have Buehler facing the Padres, Luis Castillo gets to face the Marlins. So I don't feel like I have to get to Justin Verlander today, especially on Yahoo where he's 62 and everyone else is like low 50s. Don't think I'm going to be playing much Verlander on Yahoo. On DraftKings, I guess that's where he would be more appealing, but still don't feel like he's someone I'm going to be trying to get to. I really like this three-man group of Corbin, Buehler, and Castillo. Those are the 3 guys that do stand out to me. Corbin 11-2 against the Orioles, Buehler 11K against the Padres, and then Castillo all the way down there at 10K against the Marlins. So Castillo is the one I really want to talk about on DraftKings, where he's only $10,000. He's just so much cheaper than all the other guys. He should be priced up there with Corbin and Buehler, and the fact that he's 10K just makes him a lot more appealing. Those $1,000 savings you get are going to be pretty nice on this slate. It's a great matchup for Castillo against the Marlins. We know how bad this Marlins lineup is, how much they strike out versus right-handed pitching. Really low total. They actually have the lowest total on the slate, even lower than the Rays going up against Verlander. The Marlins have a 3.2 implied run total against Castillo. A lot of strikeouts here. It's going to be a lot of righties in this lineup. Great ballpark for pitchers as well. Love Castillo. He dominated earlier this year against the Marlins to no surprise. 7 innings, only allowed 2 hits, got 8 strikeouts, 34 DraftKings points. Could easily see a similar performance to that here for Castillo. So at 10K on DraftKings, he's my number 1 guy today. On Yahoo, though, it's a bit different. The pricing between these 3 guys are very similar. Corbin and Buehler are both 51, and then Castillo is 50. So I think looking at pricing on Yahoo, Castillo being 50 and the other guys being just $1 more, I think I'd rather get to the other guys. Like I have Buehler projected for a few more points than Castillo, and with them only being $1 separate on Yahoo, I'll just take Buehler because he would definitely be my favorite play, not factoring in salary. But the reason I like Castillo more on DraftKings is because he's so much cheaper, and those savings you get are going to be pretty nice. But on Yahoo, where the pricing's pretty much the same, I prefer Buehler over Castillo. Buehler is also in a great spot, facing a Padres team that has a lot of strikeouts versus right-handed pitching, towards the top of the league in K rate versus righties. Just not a great lineup either. Like Manny Machado, Eric Hosmer, and Renfroe, I would say, are like the only dangerous hitters in this lineup. Garcia, Naylor, Margot, Urias, Hedges, and the pitcher are all pretty easy outs. So great spot for Walker Buehler. He also pitched against the Padres pretty recently and had a really good start. 54 fantasy points on Yahoo, 9 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 15 strikeouts when he faced the Padres just a couple starts ago. So Buehler has a ton of upside here. Castillo has a lot of upside as well. Corbin has a ton of upside. It's going to be pretty tough to choose which one's the number 1 guy. Like if you're playing multiple lineups, I would definitely get exposure to all 3 of those guys. I wouldn't just go all in on one pitcher. because all three pitchers are in really good spots. I could see any of those three guys being one of the highest scoring pitchers on the slate. So I like Buehler on Yahoo. I like Castillo on DraftKings. But for SP2 on DK, the guy that I like for cheap, he's in the 7K range. Michael Pineda, very favorable matchup here against the White Sox. He's going to be a guy that I look to a lot on DraftKings. Just such a good spot. I mean, the White Sox versus right-handed pitching have one of the higher K rates in the league. Just a really bad lineup. And Pineda does have some strikeout upside, although he hasn't shown like a lot of K upside this year. If you look at his last few starts, I mean, 6 Ks. He did face the White Sox in his last start and went 7 innings, allowed 6 hits, 4 runs. Wasn't a great start, but still got 16 DraftKings points. I mean, Pineda's pretty much consistently giving you 15 to 25 DraftKings points, somewhere in that range. And at 7,800, he's for sure in play. If he gets 20 DraftKings points at 7,800, I think that's going to be a pretty good SP2 play. And in this matchup with the White Sox, he has upside for more than that. So he's going to be a guy that I look to a lot on DraftKings, given the price. On Yahoo, I don't think you need to play Pineda because he's $45. I'd honestly rather just play Andrew Heaney for $1 more against the Rangers. But I do like some of the cheaper guys. Someone that really stands out on Yahoo is Mike Soroka. His price is only $38. He's just kind of too cheap for the talent that he has. Not a great strikeout pitcher, but very good command. Is able to limit damage, doesn't walk guys, gets a lot of ground balls. He's facing a Blue Jays lineup that's really not that good versus right-handed pitching. Once you get past like the top 4 hitters, there are a lot of easy outs at the bottom of that lineup. I just don't feel like it's that dangerous of a spot for Soroka. And the fact that he's so cheap on Yahoo at just 38 makes me have a lot of interest in him. On DraftKings, where he's 9,300, I don't think you need to play Soroka today. But on Yahoo at 38, he makes for a great SP2 play. Like, he's cheaper than Hauser, he's cheaper than Quantrill, he's cheaper than Samardzija, Minor. I do like Soroka quite a bit over on Yahoo. But now going back to DK to finish out the player pool and talk about any other guys that I see that I think are playable. I mentioned Andrew Heaney at the Yahoo price. On DraftKings at 9,800, it's pretty tough to play him because Castillo is only 200 more, and I think Castillo is just a way better play. But I imagine Andrew Heaney is going to be very low owned, and this is a matchup where he just went off in his last start against the Rangers. He went 8 innings, only allowed 4 hits, 1 run, got 14 strikeouts, had 45 DraftKings points in his last start against the Rangers. It's a great matchup. It's a Rangers team that strikes out a ton versus left-handed pitching. Really good spot for Andrew Heaney. Only issue is that he's just so closely priced to Luis Castillo. And I think Luis Castillo is just a little bit of a better play. But for tournaments, if you want to pivot to Heaney, I could totally understand it because he's going to be pretty low owned compared to Castillo today. But some other pitchers that stand out, if you're going cheap, there's not a ton that I see. Like, I think Adam Plutko at 6,500 against the Tigers is going to be someone that a lot of people go to for value. I could definitely see using him if you're trying to pay up for some bats. Or a guy like Mike Leake. Mike Leake is not a good pitcher, but he's 5,400 and he's pitching against the Giants in San Francisco, which is obviously a great pitcher's park. So if you want to go cheap, I think 2 guys that are playable are Plutko against the Tigers and Mike Leake against the Giants. But other than that, there's not much that I like below them. Like Brault, Smiley, Brooks, I'm not going to. Maybe some Mike Montgomery because he's the minimum. He's 4K. He's not a terrible pitcher. He doesn't get a ton of strikeouts, but at 4K in a good pitcher's park against an Oakland team that is okay, it's not a dangerous team by any means. It's not a scary matchup. Right now, Oakland does have a 5.4 implied run total, so I doubt many people are going to go to Montgomery just seeing Oakland's run total. I could totally see Montgomery going like 5-6 innings, maybe giving up like 3 runs, getting like 4 or 5 strikeouts. Maybe he gets a win and gets you like 15 DK points. And at the minimum 4K, that's totally good. That's actually pretty good value. That's honestly pretty great value if you get 15 DK points out of someone at 4K. So Montgomery, if you're playing a lot of lineups, for sure would have him in my player pool because he's so cheap. But I think that's it for pitcher. Let's go ahead and talk about some bats now. So first guy that I want to start off with, guy that I played a ton of on Monday night. I'm going to be going right back to him. Aaron Judge, still too cheap on both sides. On DraftKings, he's just $4,500. On Yahoo, he's just $17. They bumped his price up a little bit, but honestly, didn't bump it up enough for this matchup. Going to be facing Yuseki Kikuchi here for the Mariners. Kikuchi has just really struggled this year to righties, especially righties that have power. And this is a very dangerous spot for him, facing LeMahieu, Judge, Torres, Sanchez, Urshela, even Cameron Maybin, all guys that have power. I really like the Yankees stack here. Aaron Judge, whether you're stacking the Yankees or you just want to use him as a one-off, I think he's one of the top plays in the outfield today. He's been heating up lately. He's got a home run in 3 straight games. We'll see how he does on Monday night. As I'm recording this video, that game has not started yet. We'll see how Judge does Monday against Tommy Malone. Assuming he has a good game, even if he has a bad game, I'm going to be going right back to Aaron Judge on Tuesday in this matchup with Kikuchi. Then another guy and another team I like Rhys Hoskins a lot here versus Steven Brault, and I think Philly's a really good stack as well. Rhys Hoskins is a great play over on Yahoo at just $12. Easily the best first base play when you factor in like points per dollar. Even on DraftKings though at 4,500, I think Rhys Hoskins is a top option at first base. This is a guy that has really good splits versus lefties. Always been very good versus left-handed pitching, and now he's getting to face Steven Brault in Philly. Philly's ballpark is pretty favorable for hitters. You're getting Pittsburgh going to Philly. These Pittsburgh pitchers have some success in Pittsburgh, but when you get them on the road, a guy like Steven Brault on the road can definitely struggle. So I do like some of these Phillies bats. I like the righties here versus Brault. Hoskins, Realmuto, Segura, Kingery. If these guys crack the lineup, I think they're really good plays. And the lefties also are pretty tough outs as well. Harper's a really good hitter, obviously. Dickerson's a pretty good hitter. Cesar Hernandez from the right side, not great, but a guy that doesn't strike out much is going to put the ball in play. I would say Adam Hazley is like the only easy out in this lineup, so really tough spot for Steven Brault. Love these Philly bats, and I love Rhys Hoskins at first base today. I'm going to fill out my DraftKings 5 outfielder that I really like for cheap. Haven't played him much this year or as of late, but I do like him here versus Mike Montgomery. Chris Davis is only 3,400 today. If there was ever a spot to play Chris Davis, it is in this matchup, I feel like, with Montgomery. Montgomery, not a pitcher that gets a ton of strikeouts, pitches to contact, is going to throw the ball in the zone. If there's one thing that Chris Davis struggles with, it's striking out. He strikes out a ton, but you're facing a pitcher in Montgomery who doesn't really have much strikeout stuff, so Davis should be able to put the ball in play. I know Chris Davis throughout his career has always had reverse splits. He's always been better versus right-handed pitchers, but I still do like him here versus Montgomery. And the fact that he's so cheap on DraftKings at 3,400 makes me have some interest in him as a value outfielder. Don't need to go to him, though, on Yahoo. He is minimum salary on Yahoo, I believe. Yeah, he is $7, but don't need to play him at $7 when I can get Jock Peterson for just $1 more. Jock Peterson at $8 on Yahoo, assuming he leads off for the Dodgers, feels like a top outfield play, feels like one of the best cash game plays on the slate. So right now the Dodgers have a 4.7 implied run total against Cal Quantrill. Cal Quantrill has not been bad this year, especially as of late. He's actually pitched pretty well, but he's not really a pitcher I believe in. This is a tough spot for him having to face the Dodgers. This Dodgers lineup just has so many good lefties that hit right-handed pitching really well, and obviously Jock Peterson's one of them. Should be leading off, a ton of power versus righties, facing a pitcher who I think is just kind of mediocre at best. I like Jock Peterson a lot in the outfield on Yahoo at just $8. Just way too cheap of a price tag for this guy. Should not be that cheap. But anyways, these are my 5 plays today for Yahoo and for DraftKings. Now looking at stacks before we go over to BVP. A couple teams that really stand out to me. The Yankees I really like here versus Kikuchi. 5.6 implied run total. I do like the Phillies a lot versus Steven Brault. 5.4 implied run total. And then if you're paying down at pitcher and you want to find some expensive stacks that have upside, the Nationals versus Aaron Brooks. They're very expensive, but the Nationals give you a ton of upside. 6.2 implied run total. And then this Coors Field game is going to be a game we want to look to for some bats. Right now I'm seeing Rick Porcello going for the Red Sox and Garcia. I'm not sure the guy's first name, but Rico Garcia is the pitcher for the Rockies. Don't really know much about him. Honestly, don't really need to know much about him. The fact that he's having to face the Red Sox in Coors Field pretty much tells me all I need to know. So both sides of this game are going to be in play for bats. 6.8 total for the Red Sox, 6.9 for the Rockies. If you pay down at pitcher, which I think is obviously viable today when you have a ton of offenses with high totals, expensive offenses with high totals, you could definitely look to this game for bats. Probably would prefer the Red Sox because they're just a better offense. But if you want to go to the Rockies versus Porcello, I understand that as well. But I think that's it for stacks for the teams I really like. Let's go ahead and talk about some BVP now before we end the video. So just a couple of BVP plays that do stand out. Martin Maldonado, 7 for 13 off of Charlie Morton. Max Kepler, 6 for 16 with the home run off Lucas Giolito. Jake Lamb, 7 for 20, 2 home runs off Jeff Samardzija. Brandon Bell, 8 for 21, 2 home runs off Mike Leake. And then lastly, David Fletcher gone 7 for 17 off of Mike Minor. So those are just a couple of BVP plays for today, guys. I think that is it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like down below before you get out of here. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you have not already. And if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Or like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT if you do have any questions. But good luck tonight, guys. Appreciate you watching the video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.